As a student at Austin Community College, it is important for you to know that you have protection against unlawful harassment and discrimination. ACC supports students by responding to and resolving reports of discrimination and harassment in a timely and equitable manner. ACC wants all students to have academic and personal success at the college. The college will respond to, address, and prevent the reoccurrence of unlawful harassment and discrimination that negatively impacts a student's learning environment or access to an education. Students like you and me are covered by ACC's policies and procedures that prohibit discrimination and harassment on campus. So you might be asking yourself, what does this mean to me and how can ACC help? Let's break it down. The college has board policy and administrative rules that govern and protect students from unlawful harassment and discrimination. For example, board policy FFDB legal addresses complaints of discrimination, harassment, and retaliation based on race, color, national origin, religion, or disability towards students. Board policies FFDA legal and local addresses student complaints regarding sex discrimination, sexual harassment, sexual assault, sexual exploitation, domestic violence, dating violence, stalking, and retaliation towards students, including claims against other students, employees, and third parties. Sexual misconduct is an umbrella term that refers collectively to the above referenced offenses that are prohibited. Students cannot be excluded from participation in or be denied the benefit of any education program or activity because of unlawful harassment or discrimination based on a protected characteristic referenced above. Board policy can be easily found on the college's website by searching for ACC Board Policy. The college administrative rules also provide notice to students about what procedures are in place for reporting discrimination and harassment and how the college will respond to these reports. These rules can be found on the webpage for the college's Office of Compliance. Students who believe they have encountered harassment or discrimination at ACC should contact the compliance office. We'll talk more later about how you can do that. You might have heard of Title IX in the news related to institutions of higher education and allegations of sexual harassment. Previously, Title IX was most commonly known as a law that covered equality in sports and academic scholarships. But did you know that Title IX covers more than that and prohibits sex and gender discrimination and harassment in all of the college's educational programs and activities? ACC has policies and procedures in place to comply with its obligations under federal and state law to respond to and prevent Title IX sexual harassment and discrimination and other sexual misconducts that is prohibited by law or policy.
ACC's Title IX grievance procedures respond to and address reports of sexual harassment that include quid pro quo and hostile environment sexual harassment, in addition to reports of sexual assault, stalking, dating violence, and domestic violence that occur within the college's educational programs or activities. ACC strives to protect students, faculty, and staff regardless of sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression. Board policy and administrative rules describes the expectations for an environment free from discrimination and harassment based on sex and gender. Additionally, ACC has sexual misconduct investigation procedures that it will follow when prohibited conduct that does not fall under the definition of Title IX sexual harassment occurs. These procedures provide for a process for responding to and addressing all forms of sexual misconduct that might impact an ACC student. Dating violence is violence committed by a person who is or has been in a social relationship of a romantic or intimate nature with the victim. Domestic violence is a felony or misdemeanor crime of violence committed by a current or former spouse or intimate partner of the victim. by a person with whom the victim shares a child in common, by a person who is cohabiting with or has cohabited with the victim as a spouse or intimate partner, by a person similarly situated to a spouse of the victim under the domestic or family violence laws of the jurisdiction in which the crime of the violence occurred, or by any other person against an adult or youth victim who is protected from that person's act under the domestic or family violence laws of the jurisdiction in which the crime of violence occurred, like a stay away order issued by a court. Sexual assault is any sexual act directed against another person without the consent of the victim, including instances where the victim is incapable of giving consent. Examples are rape, fondling, incest, and statutory rape. Stalking is engaging in a course of conduct directed at a specific person that will cause a reasonable person to either fear for the person's safety or the safety of others, or suffer substantial emotional distress. In addition to the prohibition of sexual misconduct under Title IX and state law at ACC, individuals who hold some level of authority over another person, such as a faculty member over a student, are not permitted to engage in an intimate or sexual relationship, even if the relationship is consensual. Relationships where there is a power differential are prohibited. ACC's policies and procedures are in place so that the college can address sexual harassment in any form before it rises to the level of illegal harassment. All types of sex discrimination and harassment listed on this slide are prohibited by ACC. If you have experienced any form of sexual misconduct, let the compliance office know immediately so they can assist right away. Every student's report of sexual misconduct will be assessed to determine which investigative procedure apply and what supportive measures are available. Allegations of Title IX sexual harassment will be investigated under the college's Title IX grievance procedures. Allegations that may fall under the definition of sexual harassment as defined by state law will be investigated under the college's sexual misconduct investigation procedures.
It is important to remember that sex or gender-based discrimination does not have to be sexual in nature. Examples can be acts of favoritism in the classroom of one gender over another, such as a woman getting better grades than a man for doing the same work, or jokes, humiliation, and bullying an individual based on their sexual orientation or transgender status. Additionally, did you know that Title IX covers pregnancy too? College must provide individuals that are pregnant a chance to complete their classes and earn their grades. This may result in a student taking an incomplete grade so that they can complete all required classwork later. A student cannot be penalized for missing a class due to pregnancy-related medical conditions. Complainant and respondent are roles individuals take in college's Title IX grievance procedures. These and other definitions explained here are related to colleges respond to reported discrimination and harassment. Complaint means an individual who is alleged to be a victim of conduct alleged under the college's Title IX grievance procedures, sexual misconduct investigative procedures, or other procedures investigating allegations of discrimination or harassment against a student. Formal complaint means a document filed by a complainant or signed by a Title IX coordinator alleging Title IX sexual harassment. For purposes of reports alleging sexual harassment as defined under Title IX, a complainant must be participating in or attempting to participate in college district's education program or activity at the time of filing a formal complaint. The college's Title IX grievance procedures will not be triggered unless there is a formal complaint. A respondent means an individual who has been reported to be a perpetrator of conduct alleged under the college Title IX grievance procedures. Sexual misconduct investigative procedures or procedures investigating allegations of discrimination or harassment against a student. Supportive measures means non-disciplinary, non-punitive, individualized services offered as appropriate, as reasonably available, and without a fee or charge to the complainant or respondent. Supportive measures are afforded to both a respondent and complainant at any point after a report of alleged prohibited conduct is received by the college district, regardless of whether a formal complaint has been filed. Such measures are designed to restore or preserve equal access to the college district's education program or activity without unreasonably burdening the other party, including measures to protect the safety of all parties or deter prohibited conduct. People who have experienced sexual harassment, sexual assault, dating violence, domestic violence, or stalking should consider going to the hospital for treatment and preservation of evidence, if applicable, as soon as practical after the incident. Individuals have the right to report the incident to their institution and to receive a prompt and equitable resolution of the report. Individuals have the option to report a crime to law enforcement, to be assisted by the institution in reporting the crime to law enforcement, or to decline to report the crime to law enforcement.
The Compliance Office responds to and addresses reports of discrimination and harassment, including complaints of sexual harassment or other sexual misconduct, and strives to stop the behavior, prevent recurrence of the behavior, and assist individuals who have experienced harm. To facilitate this level of care, the Compliance Office has a director who serves as the Title IX coordinator and 2 full-time investigators who assist the college in its obligations to respond to reports of harassment and discrimination at the college, in addition to providing supportive measures as needed. Students are informed of their rights and options related to reporting discrimination and harassment by way of the college's board policy, administrative rules, the college catalog and student handbook, the college's Office of Compliance, and this orientation. So, now knowing what the Compliance Office covers and the services it provides, let's talk about how the Compliance Office can help. The Compliance Office responds to reports of discrimination and harassment and assists students with any applicable supportive measures when necessary. Since ACC is a community college, ACC understands that its students may bring many aspects of their lives with them to campus, so reports of discrimination and harassment may include conduct that occurs on or off campus. The college's ability to investigate off-campus conduct will depend on whether the college has the authority and jurisdiction to do so. By addressing concerns happening on and off campus, we can strive to make sure that students are having the best possible on-campus experience. The goal of the Compliance Office is to assist you without creating further distractions or disturbances in your day-to-day life and to connect you with resources to successfully complete your academic journey at ACC. ACC staff and administrators are available to provide you with resources and support when you need a little extra assistance. Our deans, faculty, clinical counselors, success coaches, student life personnel, and district police are all here to support your success at the college. Supportive measures are designed to facilitate access to all of the college's programs, whether or not an individual chooses to submit a complaint. Examples include no contact orders, class reassignments, police escorts, clinical counseling, criminal trespass warnings, and victims assistance resources. All support measures are free of charge. Students have the opportunity to report in a variety of ways, and assisting you is the Compliance Office's top priority. The Compliance Office accepts reports through email, phone call, communicated through a friend or ACC employee, or even an online reporting form. ACC has an anonymous sexual misconduct reporting form linked at the bottom of the ACC homepage. This form allows you to report incidents of sexual harassment and sexual violence while not disclosing your identity if you prefer.
While anonymous reporting is an option, the Compliance Office is here to assist students and can be reached directly. Students can email compliance@austincc.edu or call the District Title IX Coordinator directly at 512-223-7964 as listed on a previous slide. The college designates its clinical counselors as a confidential resource for students. And clinical counselors are not required to disclose information regarding an incident of sexual harassment that constitutes personally identifiable information about a student, or other information that would indicate the student's identity without the student's consent.
A bias reporting form should be used for complaints based on disability, race, color, or national origin. This form is located on the report and incident page linked at the bottom of the ACC homepage. Remember, the Compliance Office is here to help you. If you have additional questions or are in need of resources, please visit the compliance website, austincc.edu. www.edu.edu/compliance.